29 after 4. Ekosiisen so ne high asempa 94.7 FM. Yere mo nyina asesa ma makwa ba bi o se matwen yen amayako aba. If you time recording say no nsia ne fa ebebo, we bringing you that much awaited presidential debate for Nugs. And say ebia wonte and what we've decided to do is to give the platform to Nipa Miensa Ejina Sayento on Swaba na omumu ba komeye president of Nugs to steer the affairs of that big student body. So Oko Nugs website sees here a lot of information. And I'm reading verbatim from the website. I can say Nugs blocks are created on the basis of a well-defined institutional or regional bodies. We are the mother body of all student unions in Ghana, consisting of 6 blocks, namely University Student Association of Ghana, USAC, Graduate Student Association of Ghana, GRASAC, Ghana Union of Professional Students, GAPS, okay, and National Health Student Association of Ghana, Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana, TAG, and Regional Student Representative Councils. Blocks in Sia are Nugs Aseno and Mabubo Atremon. Delegate will be drawn from all these blocks. I'm told say delegate bia a bar. We are looking at 3,000 delegates to elect a president and other executives. For more munimno, Nugs slogan aluta continua, Victoria Aseta. And a bit about Nugs. Ekase, we are also a democratic, non-partisan and progressive mass movement comprising of students in Ghana and Ghanaian students abroad, with the primary aim of protecting and safeguarding the right and interest of Ghanaian students. We also advocate to inculcate in them high sense of responsibility, patriotism, discipline, and for that matter, nationalism, with the ultimate aim of integrating them and ensuring their maximum participation in all activities relating to national development. In the slogan, Namekai Aluta Continua Victoria Aseta, but motto for Nugs, education, a right, not a privilege. A brief history of Nugs, no? On the website, information because the National Union of Ghana Students had its origin from the Union of Gold Coast Students in West Africa in the 1930s. The union's goal by then was to dismantle the British colonial rule and to achieve independence. After Ghana achieved independence in 1957, the union adopted its present name in 1962. In 1982, it began to represent an opposition with students demonstrating for the release of political detainees and the transfer to a civilian rule. The current objectives of Nugs are to discuss student problems, coordinate student activities, and to formulate student opinion on matters of mutual concern. The National Union of Ghana Students became formal in 1965 under the name National Union of Ghana Students after the University of Ghana, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and the University of Cape Coast came to form a multi-level governance structure for the administration of student affairs at the national level. The National Union of Ghana Students was formed with the vision of championing the interest of Ghanaian students. Among these were the institution of the National Service Scheme and the Ghana Education Trust Fund, GET Fund, which the leadership of our union then played a key role. In the local website, the mission statement, the vision statement, vision, for example, our vision is to remain the largest, most recognized and credible student-centered union in Ghana and beyond. Aims and objectives, endorso. The core values, which is most important for me, core values, Nugs is unreservedly committed to upholding its core values: honesty and integrity, teamwork and volunteerism, networking and collaboration, non-discrimination and mutual respect, communication and information sharing, adherence to ethics, adherence to democratic principles, avoidance of conflict of interest, gender equality and equity, commitment to excellence and capacity development, and a service to nation. Currently, Nugs are executives. Now, the current executives of Nugs, no, Isaac J. Hyde, a president. Divine Edem Kwajode, a secretary. Georgina Boabin Boaten, secretary for women development. Richard Bosomche, secretary for society and welfare. Harry Kakarienchi, secretary for union development. Okain Staloni, secretary for education. Bright Brobe, secretary for international relations. Kelvin Jima Ejei, secretary for programs and project. Nana Oseyao Obed, secretary for press and information. Peter Dakwa, secretary for finance. And Matthew Aboud Atule, secretary for innovation, entrepreneurship and skills development. Nugs executive is almost wow. Okay. There are 150 member institutions and over 500,000 members of Nugs. But delegate ebe to abano ebe 3,000. And it's a very, very, very important union. Every student here in Ghana is a member of this union, the National Union of Ghana Students. And through Nugs, no, yetimi enya some frontline politicians CCR blazing the trail wherever they find themselves. Medikai Bobo, some of the student leaders are or more into frontline politics. Maybe John Kuma, who is now a deputy minister of finance designate, or a former Nugs presidential aspirant. Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa, a former Nugs president, or a MP, and a former deputy education minister, former deputy information minister, and or a ranking member Foreign Affairs Committee in Ghana's parliament. Okujeto Ablakwa, now or a Nugs president, I think in 2006. Muhammad Amin Adam, or a deputy energy minister designate, also now or a Nugs executive. Edward Bauer, a former president of Nugs and or a member of parliament. Omane Buama doctor, former Nugs president and waye minister of communications da. Emmanuel Domson Ejei. Ejina say anka MPP for Antone Swaba no me parliamentary candidate. Ewo Esukuma Odobin Brakwa ba Ankoye. No, I think he Ankoye man. Yeah, Domson Ejei when we yeah. Ono so a Nugs executive da. Yawbuabeya Samoa, former MP Adenta, and or a director of communications for the NPP, or a former secretary Emma Nugs. Haruna Idrisu, minority leader in Ghana's parliament, former Nugs president. Matthew Opoku Prempe, doctor, energy minister, former education minister, or a more time not Nugs, or vice president. It was a former national vice president Emma Nugs. Honorable Anodompre, current majority chief whip, or a former Nugs president. Dan Botwi, current minister for local government, decentralization and rural development, or a former national secretary, Emma Nugs. Dr. Arthur Kennedy, a Nugs president da. If you look at in recent times, a free at least 2009 and 2007 air bar, president are heading Nugs. Bombassen. Na Bombassen ni di yankasa no. Former president in 2007 he was president of Nugs. Billy Jones Owusu 2008 president of Nugs. Wanda Madilo 2009 president of Nugs. Anthony Abochi Efriye and Hamza Suhini. Omono 2010 yenya president mienu. 2011, the same trend continued. Into Peter Koji and Osman Ayarega were the two presidents. 2012, Andrews Jan became president. 2013, Same Benfo. Oh, okay. Same Benfo kujina Asokwa, Adansi Asokwa, and Katie Hammond signed Eden Sheho. But when Same Benfo ye deputy CEO e Ghana Publishing Company, deputy MD. Yeah, on the deputy to David Asante. Same Benfo 2013 we Nugs president. Prosper Diche. 2014 no a Nugs president. Michael Parkwesi Edu 2015 Nugs president. 2016 in so yesenya 2. Julian Mausi Kobna and a Lukman Abubakar. 2017 yesenya 2 president. Hey Nugs yenso. Oheneba Bediakon Bosheba. Oheneba Bediakon Bosheba. And a Dr. Frank Amwakohine Ebeye president. 2018, and I remember hosting these 2 presidents in the studio, Tinkaro Asare and a Gombila. And almost 40 or more issues now for 2019, Omunya 1 president who happens to be the current president of Nugs, Isaac J. Hyde. And that's a bit of history on Nugs for you. What is happening today, and it's Nipa Miensa put themselves up to be voted for. One of them will be voted for as president of Nugs to run the association for term, they are saying 2 years, 1 year, 1 year for the next 1 year. In studio now, Dr. Sylvester Owusu Amuakon, a former SRC president, University of Ghana, Legon. Doc, akwa banet saying,
Macho Boko.
Bibi Ekoye. Ujina onai so.
Mijina minai so pa.
Fantastic. And year ben now ye SRC president we Legon.
I was SRC president 2018-2019.
Oh, 2018-2019 academic year at the University of Ghana, Legon. Great. Dennis Apia Labi Ampofo, a former SRC president, University of Cape Coast. Dennis, akwaba net saying
senior nyankofo na daro man pasha na wonso
nyame adom bibi ekoye
nyankofo me ogidi nti bibi aboko
ugina onan so
menya gidi kese
nti unso year ben now ye SRC president wo
2016-2017
and now ye SRC president University of Cape Coast. Okay, Yadom Boache Emmanuel Yadom akwaba net saying
bibi aboko na wonso
nyame adom ekoye
nyame adom ene Ghana esua from pai bonti bibia eboko
ugina onan so
ejina na so pa
super Nugs coordinating secretary 2016-2017 and that was the year we coordinating secretary no omo ye den
per the old constitution ana ye emra atwamu no na coordinating secretary third in command.
Okay.
Now no na adwuma o ye ne ye se ohwe se union no day to day administration.
Okay.
Ebekoso okipi union ne files ene other necessary union ma bia o say den ekoso bia.
Okay.
The coordinating secretary was one year or the other as a organizer or se union ni bibia be ebekoso.
One of the things I would do to even start this interview, because I'm person will lead the students, I will put you on the spot and send you into the main issues. Nugs, the organization you want to head as president, aims and objectives. Enti Obiya bema me one aim and objective of the association you want to lead. And maybe I'll start with you, Dennis.
Chief.
One aim or objective of the association you want to lead.
Yes. Ghana School for Union, and as a National Union of Ghana students, one of the main aims is to be the mouthpiece of Ghanaian students. In the representation of Ghanaian students as a main mouthpiece, speaking in the interest of Ghanaian students. It's one of the main aims and objectives of the union.
Of the union. Okay. Doc.
Pause.
One aim and objective.
Okay, so one of the main aims of the National Union of Ghana students is basically to seek the welfare of all students. And when I mean welfare, in terms of things like school fees, in terms of when issues come up within the course of the year. That's one thing that as Nugs we are supposed to do. I mean, not just the universities, the SHS, the JHS schools, even our kindergarten, and even the foreign Ghanaian students outside. And so that's one of the main aim of the
One
National
of the main
Union
aims of the National Union of Ghana
students.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Yadom,
Obi.
one aim of the association you want to lead.
Union no adeɛ ɛhwɛ kɛseɛ paa ɛyɛ sɛ Ghana asuafoɔ ebenya ahotɔ wɔ sukuu mu.
Yes.
Na one other thing nso ɔmo hwɛ sɛ asuafoɔ bɛyɛ nso no yɛ sɛ ɛyɛ nneɛma a ɛka ɔmo ho na ɔmo de bɛsua adeɛ wɔ class ɛne baabi places no biribiara nso bɛkɔ so. Timetumi aka sɛ yɛn objective anaasɛ yɛn anisoade hunu kɛseɛ paa ɛyɛ sɛ yɛbɛko na yɛahwɛ sɛ saa nneɛma no nyinaa no ɛbɛsisi n'akwan mu. Nti advocacy ɛyɛ adeɛ a ɛho ehia ɛma union ne paa, and it is one of the objectives kɛseɛ baako paa ɛsi union n'ani so.
Okay, and those are our three aspirants for the Nugs presidency, and Mati one kind way preliminary comments are. If you log on to the Nugs website, as I told you earlier, aims and objectives, our aims and objectives are in line with the interest of all Ghanaian students, both in and outside Ghana, as they are drafted with all student concerns in mind. Some of our aims and objectives are to protect and safeguard the rights and interest of students, to offer a common platform for the discussion of issues and problems affecting students, as well as gathering the opinion of students on matters of national and international concern, to work to protect and defend the Republican Constitution of Ghana, to promote cooperation, understanding, and friendship between and among students of Ghana and other people both in Ghana and abroad, so far as the aims and objectives of such people do not conflict with those of ours, that is Nugs, to inculcate in students a high sense of discipline, participation, and a sense of revolutionary awareness of our cultural heritage and offer the means by which they can advance this heritage, to advance the concept of Pan-Africanism and to foster unity among Ghanaian students and other people of African descent and the world at large, to seek the general welfare of Ghanaian youth without prejudice to any cause. And on the Nugs website, no, we any aims and objectives are a capture the money na mo keka idea. Okay. And would leave the student body to judge that. Yamra back na fe yen common as the first question I'm the baby Samen, me earlier question me start with, this time I'll start with you, Doc. Currently, and I think a bit of introduction will do, and Sunny about even the main issues. And apart from media Makano, who is let me get the names and then I would ask questions based on that. Dr. Sylvester Owusu Amuakon. Oh yeah, why? Tell us about yourself in a minute or two.
All right, Obi, thank you very much. First of all, I want to say hello to all students in Ghana, all across, and the Nyankopon is the opportunity to even come this far. But just to answer you, my name is Dr. Sylvester Usamuakon.
Okay.
I attended University of Ghana. I started off from Infant School, SHS, attended University of Ghana, and finished medical school December last year. Currently, I'm a master's student at Central University. I'm studying an executive master's in governance and leadership.
Oh, okay.
I'm passionate about the youth, and as a person, I hope to improve medical research in Africa. As SRC president, one of the things that really was on my heart was advocacy, and a lot of those things showed up during my administration. So, as a core principle, I'm someone who believes that everything is possible in Christ once we are willing to work at it and fight for them. And that is what I want to bring on board with Nugs. We want to advocate for students, and not just the traditional institutions like that look like over the years, but then for every single student in Ghana and every Ghanaian student outside. So we tell people that hope's alive, let's hope.
Fantastic. And that's Dr. Sylvester Usuamuakon and Moten and Kano. Yadom Bwachi Emmanuel. In a minute or two, tell us about yourself.
Okay, Obi, send your Dika Kano. Medi Yadom Bwachi Emmanuel. Offer me YB so Mejiso.
YB?
Yes.
Okay.
Me started me basic education at Kwada Sobetel Methodist.
Oh, okay.
And then me proceeded to Poko High School. Now from then on, me call Ken University acquire my first degree, which is in political studies.
Okay.
Me we na me san call where be acquire law, which I'm in final year now.
Okay.
And then me running another program also Ghana Baptist University,
Okay.
which is NBA in general management. Now I'm say deɛ wɔyɛ ni so anaa deɛ wɔma ni so kɛseɛ paa yɛ sɛ ɔkyena bi mɛsɔre na mehu sɛ ɛyɛ Ghana asuafoɔ neɛ hwehwɛ ne neɛ yɛpɛ nyinaa no yɛn nsa ayɛ dɛn aka na si yɛn nsa bɛka anaasɛ yɛbɛtumi anya neɛ yɛhwehwɛ no ɛwɔ sɛ yɛn a yɛwɔ hɔ siesie no yɛ try ne put in measures a ɔkyena bi obi nso ɔbɛba no ɛbɛtumi aba abɛtoa so na menim sɛ deɛ yɛadɔmboakyi ma no afi obeye Nugs president a obeye no ochina bi omo maka no nso ba na omo betoa so a se ne yempanyimfo atwam na de bia ye bo omudin a o mpanyimfo atwam eye get fund mpanyimfo atwam kan bi na student loan trust fund e baaye mpanyimfo atwam kan ho bi na national service scheme e baaye no ochina bi nso no omo bodi on betimi aka se eye yadombo achi ma no enso kan ho bi e na ABCD enso etimi baaye.
Super. Into Yadom Boachi Emmanuel and Moten and Kano. Dennis,
Senior,
in a minute or two, introduce on
my name still remains Dennis Apia Labi Ampofo. I'm a final year student of law or the Faculty of Law at King's University College.
Okay.
I pursued my first degree in Bachelor of Management Studies at the University of Cape Coast, the University of Competitive Choice. You can take that from us.
Yeah, well, that's debatable. But you better find another day I can.
Well, I mean, I understand your reservations. Giant fans kakrawa. In my second year, I became hall president of Ogwaho.
Oh, okay.
My third year.
Ogwaho.
Yeah.
Second year.
Yeah.
And I'll be a hall president.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay.
And in my third year, I became SRC president, leading our 65,000 students of the University of Cape Coast. An honor I cherish so much from the University of Cape Coast, an honor which gave me the platform to put on board what I do. Before that, I had served as Zone 4 president for Ashanti Regional Student Representative Council in senior high school. I did my senior high school in Asantaman Senior High School. In all my life, 5 principles have guided me. Leadership of empathy, where human beings who lead have a compassionate feeling for other human beings. Leadership of integrity, where people are consistent with principles. Leadership of fairness. Leadership of hard work. Leadership of dialogue. I think one of the main things that I would be remembered for in the University of Cape Coast is that we were able to achieve results without necessarily being at loggerheads with management. As core principle, I believe in emancipation of students through dialogue and the philosophy of non-violence. Mijidi se esukufo be ye bedi ya na de bi enye choboy enye gidi enya betri e adwemu nkomo ene nkasa and sometimes ye di benya de eden yepe. I also believe that sometimes if persuasion fails, force must be applied. Okay. But in all my life as a young student leader, having served student front in the last decade, I believe that what I should be remembered for should be my principles, the things that embodies Dennis Apia Labi Ampofo. That is why so many students across the country refer to me as Nyajidie. I have faith in our student movement.
Nyajidie.
Yes, sir.
Wow. And the Dennis Apia Labi Ampofo and Motene Nkadende. At least you now know the 3 aspirants for the presidency of Nugs. Monday and elections, so close to 3,000 delegates drawn from all over Ghana will be converging here in Accra to elect the next president of Nugs, the National Union of Ghana Students. Now we kickstart the real debate, why we are all here. Doc, Sadia Mekai, I'll start off with you. My first question is, gap ben na mo identify in Nugs mo pesa mo babe fairly. That will be my first question for all of you. Right, Doc, in the gaps ben na identify.
Okay, on the issue of gaps, you realize that over the years, even in terms of access, Nugs has been like, it's just about, I mean, you were saying University of UCC, I mean, we all know that Legon is the big deal, but that's just by the way. University of Ghana, KNUST, UCC, the UDSs, and a few institutions have not like say monopolized Nugs. Okay. But gaps are you say as at now no it has been an issue with the teacher training institutions in terms of access. Osha constitution in they don't have Nugs presidents. What happens is that in all schools, no, more Nugs representatives are more than Nugs presidents. But in their constitution, no, they don't even have the Nugs president there. Also, with the health colleges, it's just a few. One of them that got some inspiration from other of the universities, and then they got some Nugs president. But largely, the Nugs presidents in the health colleges is also not available. So I think that is one big problem. Also, there's been a detachment of Nugs with the SHS system. Currently, just two of the regional SRCs that are effective, and that's Greater Accra and then Ashanti Regional SRC. So even in terms of access, today there are a lot of students who say what is Nugs are homonym. Student they don't even know where to channel their issues like student loan. So that has been one of the problem, access. And so from our side, we want to restructure the whole Nugs system. We want to have what you call regional Nugs president to work with the various institutions, work with the various blocks, and where necessary to have Nugs president for the various institutions. But Mekache Nkofo it's not enough to have Nugs president across the institutions. There must be this one person coordinating them. And what should happen is that we should have secretariats. Nugs now looks like it's just centered around Legon, UCC Tech. It's just in Accra and not even in Greater Accra. So when we have people at Navrongo and they have issues, when you have people at Boko and the Western region, these are some of the things we want to do. Of course, the gap is a lot in terms of what Nugs' position has been on a lot of issues, like the public university bill, like the progress of free SHS, like the progress of studies in COVID era. And I think, well, as a medic, I'll better be able to address some of those issues. But before we even delve into those things, I think that in terms of structure, in terms of representation, in terms of who to talk to when there are problems, these are some of the challenges. And currently, my team is in talks with Comsent Media. As a young boy or Legona, time I'm here SRC president, I'll buy my office and the SRC assisted him. He developed Comsent Media. We want to also use that approach as a way of reaching out to the masses. So I'll talk about, like I said, access is the first thing. And then there are other things that we need to look at. But of course, in the next 1 year, we are going to do a lot to bridge the gap, not just the gap internally, but the gap between Nugs and bodies like Student Loan, Get Fund, and most of the youth agencies that Nugs need a particular stake on. Even Nugs and then the debate society worldwide is also another issue we need to look at, because most of these institutions don't even have debate societies, and when it comes to world tournaments, it's just a few institutions. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. Thank you very much.
Okay, and you talk about the structure of Nugs. You talk about access, you talk about representation, and you propose Oba, you would want to see Nugs president in the various institutions.
Yes, in the various institutions.
And the national Nugs president.
Yes, because as it stands now, many of the institutions like Legon, your local Nugs president.
Yes.
Oko KNWST, local Nugs president. But Oko baby to say Kolebu nursing and midwifery training. Oko baby to say Sunyani nursing and midwifery training. Tanoso nursing and midwifery training.
Need local
president. And we realized that over the years, it has not really been in the architecture. So even constitutionally, they've not made room for things like that. So what we will do is that we are going to engage TAG, that's the Block Teacher Training Association of Ghana, and then the NASAC, that's the Health Students Union, to have deliberations with them so that at their level, we can have some form of consensus. And then with time, I believe that even the constitutions of the various SRCs need to be worked on.
But Nugs, what? National Secretariat, no?
Yes. There's a National Secretariat of Nugs.
And you think it is not solid enough to coordinate?
Well, I think that the National Secretariat is present, is doing its work as it should, but there is a gap. The challenge is that, so now if there's somebody at Navrungo NMTC, if there's someone at Boko NMTC,
Yes.
I think that beyond having a platform where people can voice out things, we need representation there to be able to address the issues as they are. You know, sometimes I mean, if people have to call the regional secretary that, oh, this how, but then when you have someone on the ground, it differs. You have people who can actually move, assess the schools. Because one of the things we need to look at as the next Nugs of this country is to be able to have specific advocacies for the various schools. I mean, if you come to Legon, our problem may be accommodation. And at that level, we must engage them. If you go to a place like Wesley College at Kumasi, where I went to, they were telling me that we need as much as 100 bins on our campus. So when we have regional representations, then at the end of the day, it will help us to be able to carry out campus-specific advocacies. Certain campuses have more issues with student loan than certain campuses. So at the end of the day, if we have a regional Nugs president who is coordinating, working with all the Nugs presidents in the various schools, it makes us more close to success.
The representation you propose here, regional president and also institution-specific.
Okay, so two things: regional president for all the 16 regions. And then the second thing is Nugs president for every institution, because as it stands now, some institutions do not have.
And I don't know, we'll call for tweaking the constitution, kakra.
Exactly.
Okay. Ma memra Yadom ho. Yadom, you want to be president of Nugs. Gaps ben a identify. I know two free says wunya kwenya obe fele.
Okay, Obi, medo asi bi mu so. Name say starting with the introduction. Yes. We make key statement say institutions under Nugs around 150.
No.
Now,
150. That's what it's on the website. Website is information.
Then a mistake. The exact institutions 198. If say nursing and midwifery trainees, almost private schools need teacher trainees, almost private schools in Yinabeka. The union will be around. Institutions will be around 230 something.
Okay.
And then there are other private institutions in Soa, or part of any of the blocks in the union. My friend say Ashasi University is part of a private university. Or no part of USAG. Na amana beka Nugs ho. Nti if so munyina beka ho a, say a number na bekosro. But for now, I can still authoritatively say 198 institutions and they form the membership of Nugs. That is from USAG, from GAPS, from Nurses and Midwifery Trainees Association, and then from the teacher trainees. And Dodo no.
Okay.
Now, with regards to the question I will be saying, the memeka on here say, union biano, Osha Kwanya ye fast to union no. Any Kwanya union no airqua, you ask yourself, say, na directional union no buy no eno na eto so ana say ensesaya ye den abam na ohwe first no na union no nye that indoor type
Ekosiisen on
they speak
FM,
and then a lot of things will be shaking. They talk and then nipa bebre ye den to go. On this note, I believe say timer ye de tena them meetings, conferences no atwam. Because Okoshe one enra me call Sefidabiso in the Western North. Now on my way going, there were a lot of things I saw, especially basic school beer, Mzenkinya cement 5 bags and 10 bags at the Koboa school for now. Combeti miesi a dynama day akosro. There are some institutions in Soa, MZnya in Yakakra. And I say in your roofing sheet, bear 5B, at the Koma or Ma, and came say, you know, no to one and so a better place, and yes, you had a moment at all. But your share Nugs, say, ya, say, ya limited your home any BBA, any two. Women empowerment seminar, leadership seminar, finance, any account. And I believe that this is the time I also changes are no. Now, Yadomboachi Mano, what I've identified near say we should now hit the street. We shouldn't always wait for the government to come in to the rescue of these institutions.
Hit the streets, you mean demonstrations?
Not demonstrations.
Okay.
we have to get to the institutions. We have to get to the institutions and make sure say the petty things now enkoye wo ho no. Young as a union, they be a pride here who say, yeah, the Mother Union of Ghanaian Students, a year JHS for basic school for SHS for no BBA Shayaseno. Then no more Mushayaseno, yeah, the Ayading, Ediaboa. And that is one of the things I informing some of my policies. Say, I share my policies now. It caters from those in the primary school eba to those in the universities. Now, many slide I can't say me correct no. When it comes to representation, all the universities in the country our representation as in Nugs, local Nugs executives. Now, Nugs constitution, Article 20, talking about allied bodies. Now, me read Article 20A, no, or say the local Nugs secretariat. There shall be local Nugs branches of Nugs on the campuses of all component institutions, which shall be called the local Nugs secretariat and deemed part of the SRC of the institutions. The secretariat shall comprise the local Nugs president, the local Nugs secretary, the local Nugs treasurer, and one other person who shall be appointed by the local Nugs president in consultation with the secretary and treasurer. Now, who say universities in your representations, ASRC president or appointee will be because local Nugs president by appointment. Say Dennis so time I know ASRC president, no also local Nugs president because UCC by elections. Now the AMA teacher trainees, any nursing trainees as we speak now, any omunyina na war local Nugs president near say. First, no, Nugs constitution, no, I recognize it only the national executives of teacher trainees.
Okay.
Na institutions na was here no munyina anya dey enya recognize until 2019. Gombela ne Tinkaro time.
Yeah.
Our amended constitution said this time institutions war the teacher training and the nursing for nyina betimi abeto aba no and na aye necessary say also mu nyina aye den enya local Nugs president na even that oko Jahan College of Education in wa omo local Nugs president your friend Abu Siddiq on a local Nugs president this should tell you say even with the office of local Nugs president it is not every college of education or every nursing training institution that is not having. School say was omunya bi no. Oma find it omu own way ayeden enya bi. Now representation na oka no eyade e ho yeden ehia. Eyade e was ye hwe ne ye. But at the end of the day ye musa say kwan ben na union ne be fa so aye be de ye be because the Nugs constitution itself no stated categorically Article 20 no. The last part that is Article 20 II no or say the local Nugs executives shall be elected in accordance with the SRC constitution of the particular institution which shall be in conformity with the letter and spirit of this constitution, meaning say local Nugs secretariat biano can never be elected and as a can't come into being wabra school krona ye pese for me ana ye pese to local Nugs abano enyin anase bibi mini solution ni it's a challenge to yemi and saying because the outgoing executives in them said the umbe team no ma ye omoko. Now the problem I mean mahuni na wasenka current executives no etre an official letter at the informing the principals of the various colleges but basically enti principals na nka say nim say yen institutions no now officially they are part of the union.
Okay.
Enti I believe say yamiensa the oberi ni bia no minim say nyame ya adom nso a ya adom bo achi ma no meri ni na me wi ni wie nso a na say in case minim say me refi ba in case me refi amon kai me say ye call asempa no o ka say yenye official letter informing principals with the various colleges of education na officially no omunyentum say omu membership no part of the National Union of Ghana Students.
Okay.
No matimi yi the various local representations.
And for you, to do that, you don't need to tweak the constitution. Say we be as our representation, in here say we be change the constitution.
Okay, the only constitution obeye ho adwuma. Omu local constitution That is oko KNUST. KNUST local SIC constitution. It give you room say yenyi local Nugs president.
For a campus for campus be omuni Nugs representation be our honor. What do you do?
Okay. Oko Jahan College of Education. Menya shows omo amendi omo constitution. But they have the local Nugs president there. But till say you be formalize no. Near making sure say enquire say I had the time we say time we say enquire an aspect of let's say may okay and may ninety.
Okay.
Say it should be a general thing that will cut across
everybody.
Including the office of the local Nugs secretariat in all the colleges of education. To be fair to Doc, Doc, a minute to react to him now. Your friend is saying Dennis Enyamre no so the gaps are identify Abba. Yes, briefly.
Said now as a make Kasana senior YB one shouldn't TME kakra, but I think I'll throw a few like you see I made me can say enye colleges ni nyina no mu ni bi okọ Yamfo College of Health local Nugs president a friend Freeman. So what we said is that at the end of the day means we are going to work with TAG. TAG is their mother body because a lot of them don't have it. NASAG is their mother body. We are going to work with them to facilitate the campuses to have what their representatives.
Okay.
A constitutional provision or kind. I don't know if you read it, but it was to the point that campuses will have their representation, and if they don't have these things in their constitution, then it's better to engage TAG, which is the mother body. It's better to engage the schools so that they can come to a consensus and agree and have their reps for Nugs. So I think that Sina YB quoted a lot of things, but I mean he borrowed my words in the end. I think one other gap.
In other words, you were saying the same thing.
In other words, he listened to my conversation.
One other gap, what they betraying. I just gave you time to react to this specific one. I mean, Dennis, gaps being the why identify in Nugs. I hope I now Babe Feli.
Thank you very much, Senior. Before I move on, once I was saying do you know the first presidential aspirant amongst the three out or kasa about the representation of Nugs in the various health colleges and training colleges? I developed a policy on it, and it was ridiculed. I was told that it doesn't make sense. But I'm happy that today there is a consensus that there is a need for a discussion and an onward steps taken to bridge the gap that exists between colleges of education and nursing training. But before I move to that one, I would address it. But before I move to that one, I would want to take on some of the things I think are pressing and are needed as soon as possible. First of all is the cost financing deficit in our educational sector. So we can't cost financing deficit. So what lead a school for in schools more pay? One of the major issues is deferment and dropping out because of financing our education. Financing our education, so one of the major issues is every government looking at. Elsewhere, in other jurisdictions, better developed jurisdictions, governments take policies, initiatives, and steps which are very, very concrete that would ensure that both the poor and the rich have education. The union called Nugs is meaningless until we get to a point where education that does not become a preserve of a few. So that should be the first gap because that is our motto. That is, education is a right but not a privilege. Adia a broad union no may soda ho and say education dia. How do we do this? In 2011 there was a law that was enacted, Act 820. That's the Student Loan Trust Fund Act. That is supposed to curb or mitigate the concerns of financing our educational gap. how is it looking? These are questions that student leaders across the country should be bothered about. With my experience as SRC president, was everyday students trooping into my office to speak about how they are going to drop out of school because of school fees. So what I did then, one of the things that Maka will raise me is a matter of track record. I'm for the children in Twaso. The year we use SRC when it comes to the issue of cost financing, he said, we implemented a zero fees payment policy and a parts payment policy.
As SRC president?
As SRC president. So one of parts payment policy in there was a matter of negotiations and breaking that deal. But the zero fees payment policy was an SRC initiative financed by SRC. So when it gets to the west of West, we use SRC dues now trips to pay for school fees for some students. And they come and pay back later.
Now, omutuya ne back.
Then they pay back later.
School.
No, during the academic,
Okay.
That is something I'm here because now it meant that antimansa ba any usikani jebin so ba ebetimi enya access to education. So we can't discuss the gaps in Nugs or the gaps in our educational facet without looking at the cost financing. And that draws me to the student loan challenges. Meaning, student loan. It is one of the first concerns I'm a person looking at a student loan. First of all, act no part be why government has not been fair to us. Yembusi and say Adintina your act are extra sources of financing the fund. Now so there be delays in payment of funds. It means that so free soon and bar na bibi den ekuremu osro. That is sikane nko bibi kurem. That is one discussion that we must engage in with the government of Ghana to tell us why maybe the 10% guides funds in SECO, 1% communication tax revenue SECO, 0.3 corporate profit SECO and how do we address it? How do we also learn from best practices such as what is happening in the US, where there is a private loan or private student loan scheme? How do we ensure that these are properly managed? These are gaps such as teacher colleges and nursing colleges are student loan. How do we discuss it? Another gap, and so the issue of visibility of the union. So you go to basic schools, secondary schools, and even the universities, senior. There are a lot of our students who don't know about Nugs. They don't even know they belong to a union called Nugs. I was privileged to have passed through the regional SRC system, to be trained by the likes of Atapoku and Co., Patrick Aite and Randolph and Co., to open my eyes to the Nugs system, which developed whatever I had as a potential. Our people don't know about it. So one of the key things, and so I'm proposing here, is expanding the regional SRC system. Now the difference is that Oko senior high school levels now, Ashanti Regional Student Representative Council, Greater Accra Student Representative Council, it is 14 other regions in Nibi. How do we ensure that we get these running so that students will become aware of Nugs? Again, one of the things that the silence of the union on matter of policy. Meaning, the union or the union called Nugs will always become the mouthpiece of the students of Ghana. Our interest is to ensure that whatever is put on the table, we as a people, as a student group, have a say or a stake in it. So the issue of infrastructure deficit, schools under trees in the northern part of our country, all over our country, we must have a say and we must make our position known on issues like the Public Universities Bill. We must have a specific say. Meaning, may wrap it up. We've identified some gaps. One, the visibility. I've spoken about it. Cost financing model. I've spoken about it. I've also spoken about the issue of policy stake. And lastly, one of the gaps I feel that we as students should have been championing it is digitization, or using digital means to run our educational system, using technology to pioneer education. That is why I have proposed that we develop what we call the Nugs app. So I keep saying that the difference between us and them is ideas. The Nugs app represents a simple software that would have a lot of things on it, such as the Student Resource Center, such that students can have easy access to reading materials, such that Kosua frifa yamo aba to send me na a school minis can be to book 200 Ghana cedis, 1,000 Ghana cedis. I can have easy access to some of these materials. Oko Wenchi Afro College of Education, they offer Arabic. They are the first professional Arabic training institution in Ghana. Have you thought about the materials? How are they getting it? How scarce is it? But we could solve all our problems by a click. And you see, senior, one of the things in here, as I said, in finally, is that everyone is glued to their phone. Mm-hmm. So the Nugs app would be a game changer. That's it, we sure say discuss ideas.
Now, so and then it's near 10 and Kano. Very interesting conversations around the table. And at least you have a fair idea what these aspirants are made up of. And from the initial discussions, so we student, we delegate on Monday, at least you know who you are gravitating toward. By the time you be you'll be clear in your mind who you are going to vote for. Some few messages coming through.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
Good day, Obi, to your wonderful crew. I say Ayiko. I wish all candidates the very best. The dynamics for the Nugs election this year is characterized with so much zeal and energy from all the candidates. So regardless whoever wins, I believe Nugs will be the ultimate winner. Also special greetings to YB. He was my TESCON president whilst I served as WOCOM under his tenure of office in KNUST. He battled with challenges which have taught him great lessons today. I strongly believe have shaped him into the man he is today. People's Mother, Deputy National TESCON Coordinator, and Odiwe Abba. This one says, Dennis Apia Labi has a track record of exemplary leadership and entrepreneurial abilities. These are two key abilities needed at the helm of affairs of the next Nugs leadership. I'm hopeful. Miwojidie, let Dennis lead. Nicholas Entry, or a former president, Grassak, GIJ, and on the way up. This one from Jesse Boakwin Mamprobi, and he says, great submission from all three contestants in the studio, Dr. Sly, Boachi Adam, and Dennis. My personal observation this evening, Dr. Sly is focusing on representation of local Nugs at the various health and colleges of education. Boachi Adam is ready to visit all campuses, listen to the grievances of the student and unions in the school with effective solutions and solving problems at the local level. And honestly, to Dennis, he should remember this is Asempa FM. And the English is too much. Okay. I wish all of them the best. Jesse Boakon Mamprobi. Best wishes to the aspirants. We look ahead to a stronger Nugs. Hashtag Ekosiisen, Alex Martinson, Ediwe Abba. Good afternoon, Obi. Kindly ask the contestant whether the technical universities are part of the union. And if they are not part, what are they going to do to bring them on board? I say this because technical university students are also students. It's something you should all note and respond to. Senior Obi, Dennis Labi is a solid and strong guy with fantastic mission and vision, full of positive ambitions and energy. I know with him, the association will flourish. Obi, this will be an interesting election to watch. I've known at least two of the candidates, Dennis and YB, very well during my days at the student front. I would want to wish all of them the best. May the best candidate win this election, but I would admonish whoever wins to solely concentrate on doing the bidding of the entire student body who will be voting and not to kowtow to the whims and caprices of those in government. Let's chart a new path henceforth. I trust these guys to perform as we all expect. My regards to all of them. Kojo Dankwa. And Kojo Dankwa is a member of the NDC. We say Obi. On a serious note, all the guys in the studio are very intelligent. And at the end of the day, only one would emerge the winner. I wish all of them well. Same Boache is in a Saman Kese and Onode Nedie Abba. Good evening, Obi. Ask them. At the technical universities, you don't hear of Nugs. At the technical universities or other tertiary aside the public universities, what reforms are they bringing on board to bridge this gap? Eja Agovi, Ewa Takrade Technical University, and on the way Abba. Obi, good afternoon. Kindly ask the 3 presidential aspirants their plans for private university students, Pusak, Ochre, Edie, and no. So another question you would have to note. We say Obi. Okay. Doron, thank you. Thank you very much. Please let the Nugs president know that the program is in Chi. Okay, not an English one. I hear you. We've reminded them. I hope they will speak more Chi. Good afternoon, Obi. I am enjoying the discussion. Kudos to Sylvester for exhibiting extreme knowledge in issues pertaining to students. He's the best man for the jobs. Nugs cannot be any better without him. Tell him he has my support. And regards to Pamela Abuajewa Mante, Nugs Secretary for Women Development Hopeful, Jesse Behene Abeka, or say, or yeah, UGSRCPRO. Okay, I hear you. Let me see. Obi, I was the longest serving officer of Nugs. I was local Nugs president at the University of Ghana, then liaison officer at the National Secretariat, and later the National Coordinating Secretary. I organized the Mobrowa struggle in 1997. Baba Jamal. Oh, Baba Jamal, we are too much. Wait, to my maybe body in my refuge in Fatima. Baba Jamal. Wow. We say good evening, Obi. YB has exhibited relevant understanding of the union, which is indeed representative of who wants to become Nugs president. Delegate must give him the platform. Ohini Kojo Ankoma is in Legon listening to us at the moment. This one says, Dennis is the main guy. I am for Dennis. He made a great impact at the University of Cape Coast as SRC president, and I know he will do more as the next Nugs president. And Wayfree, a member of the GFA Executive Committee, Enim Ado. Enim Ado, thank you. We say, Pusak is the local Nugs at the various universities. The only problem I have is that they don't visit the schools after winning. Jesse Boakonde and no. So maybe we would come back and then we deal with those 2 questions that make us note, across. Obia Benya 2 minutes to address that, and then we move to one very important point that me makoma so me pese munyina mu yi no ano e de MIA. In the question 2 no ye 1 and say technical universities now, are they part of Nugs? If they are not, what do you plan to do for them? And obi nso busa Pusag and so. And yes, I'll start with you this time. YB.
Okay, with GNUPS, that is a technical universities,
Yes.
It may be a Chemuna or part of NUPS. But per history, I understand, say, Omo Ankasa, Omo national leadership,
yes.
And a Ekase, Omati Omo. They don't want to belong to the union
Nugs.
again.
Okay.
Now,
at the time, Ghana National Union of Polytechnic Students.
Yes, GNUPS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there some technical university?
Yeah, technical university.
Is there a GNUT?
GNUT. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Obi, the minimum ye say, Omasem no yana neke den kakra. Because Omo constitution na wo ho CCA.
Asempa FM.
Echere say oye Omo national leader CCA. Na eba utiri mu say o pese wo de union no ekoka Nugs hu biema. It should be a grounds for your impeachment. Inti am say polytechnics yenuanom technical university students na omu bisa na Nugs yeden na Nugs yeden no. That is where the exact problem is. Em say enye no dia enka technical universities can be a block to say ABA universities USAG and I say gaps and I say ABA since omo professional institution no ometimi a part of gaps nanka ya rane the student front ni nyina bom But I know said that aspect, that constitutional provision, any idea prevent you from making things happening. Now with the PUSAG asema
private universities.
Yeah, with PUSAG asema wakano. PUSAG officially is not part of Nugs.
Okay.
PUSAG officially is not part of Nugs. I believe say same provisions na a war Jinut constitution it is the same thing that is in PUSAG as well. Enti PUSAG as a union and no prevent you from joining Nugs as a block.
Okay.
But members and some of the institutions, not some, most of them. I think there are about 4 or 5 PUSAG institutions. Ashasi, Evangelical Presby University, and then some few. And then can Nugs. But they join Nugs through either USAG or through GAPS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Tiama, problem I mean, say payment of dues. Senke also tia PUSAG. No betua Nugs unkoa. Obeka kutua PUSAG de. No asan kutua Nugs USAG de. Ansa no oba Nugs awaye den. Waba bitua. Enti sa way no constitutional provisions we na eye bridge and eye gap between the mother unions of PUSAG ne technical universities no. Yemompaye if say current leadership Yadomboachi Emmanuel asuan for Ghana asuan for nyanimu gidi ne to abamana. I think say yene omo betena se. Na ye nyina ahwe kwan ya befa so yi sa constitutional provisions na ye den. Efi ho. Na ye nyina ya ba baabi baako.
Under one
na
umbrella.
Under one umbrella na ahwe na enioma nyina ye den akoso. Ye ba under one umbrella na ebeboa all the student institutions and all the institutions and our student population because unko nkotua dues ewo USAG enwensa memetua dues ewo PUSAG ensa ma
immediate use for Nugs.
Nti ebetete eye kana yen SRCC no ebo on the National Student Unions no enso.
Okay. Fantastic. YB. Dennis will be next and Sana Doc the area.
Obi dedi kind say Jinut and a Jinut started in 1987.
Okay.
That was when I moved breaking away from Nugs. The grounds was a matter of unfair treatment. And I think, sir, not to hold brief for them, and I say, men kasemi di kajinemu no. Some way, somehow, me I say, we say that issue of sidelining and marginalization, has been something that some student groups and some schools have always complained about. In fact, 1996, how bad tag and so started so or say on one cool when started free. A teacher trainee association. Quite fast what say no. Now omo comfortable with the way they were treated. Difference in say omo tag and omo kokra but omo stay ebe she Nugs say. But Jinuts the or no okoi. In 2000 of formalizing the constitution in the Tamale Declaration ebe yeah Jinuts on Nugs.
Okay.
That is the problem. I don't think we need to belabor the matter. What is the solution? Unfortunately, their constitutional provision makes it difficult to deal with. I propose what I call the gradualist approach. The gradualist approach in the first of all, we must start making it clear our intent to bring the union together. 2, we must start getting close, not necessarily by entrenched provisions, and I said by constitutional provisions. Sometimes you bet as a new for a young share mujabako. Some student groups be normal boom without necessarily being connected by legal provisions of their constitution. If see it means that say normal boomer or yonku sinunya, a beka crano, Jinut would have to test of its members agreeing say inform back to the union. And yes, as I say there, Kotobesio Besha kon Obia be suru say or then Sabekan because they might face impeachment. But it me mani attractive. Ni na ye tenacity say yefunu bakumuma with my gradualist approach na will solve that problem. What do I have for private universities, Student Association of Ghana? I think one of the key things I'm proposing going forward is say by establishing an institutional advocacy support scheme, IASS. There are a lot of private universities in Ghana. Our problem is dealing with their management, dealing with their fees. That is their problem. You see, problem no sometimes associations, see eco programs, ACC in Guam. students have problems in their schools. Arbitrary fees. They to private universities. So some issues of resource delay. Students don't have access to their transcripts. Those are the issues what private universities anymore. It is said Ghana School for GDO mimu ni institutional advocacy support scheme now. It will go to the matter and talk about it. We will use our media outlets to talk about what is happening in the schools. Obi, you'll be surprised that there are private universities in Ghana who don't have SRC president on their council. That is very critical. That is very serious. It is serious because it defies academic freedom. It defies the embodiment of studentship in our country. It is these issues will cause what? First of all, me as Nugs president, I'm first. And son of my bedroom, so I'm a block, and I'm on your block. Almost school fees now. I kotobe taxes now. Mutiana as a saying in a boom. Now private invested taxes no you reduce it drastically. Say the beya yin you bet me school. Say the beya students Eko Madina Institute of Science and Technology. Ombenya homekako because school do soon. But and one or two issues in Tino, students don't go there. These are the issues that we need to tackle. You bet me can block no one sem. But they can me person me can online systems one sem, me person me can delay in results release one sem, me person me can issues of certification. Minia, unim said there are some private institutions.
Finally.
Medicine, there are some private institutions that on accreditation won send aye bibia ho. It is school for ko a omo hu de eko. As say union no any national accreditation board e can boom. Now from time to time you better than the mouthpiece of the national accreditation board. You sensitize students on issues of accreditation. No who say me koto forms so ha eye ana enye you be pusak any blocks no nkomo
blocks no nkomo into Dennis appear labi and moten and Ekosiisen suni, and it's the Nugs presidential debate Monday and elections no baso here in Accra Madina Institute of Technology. Over another close to 3,000 delegates from across Ghana would converge at the campus of that school to elect the next Nugs executives, including the president, to steer the affairs of the association for the next academic year. Doc, PUSAC and technical universities, almost say, are they not part of Nugs? If they are not part, what are your plans for them?
Sir, issue way about PUSAC ne institutions, yes. No, I bet them akuma sopa. And in my policy statement and advocacy, I wrote something. I worked together with PUSAG and GAPS to advocate for the formation of a tertiary board, including government, GAPS, and school directors to regulate fees of private institutions. I think it's been very clear who shot this issue first. But to hit the nail on the head, Obi, I've had instances with SRC presidents where their certificates were almost withheld because at the end of the day they wanted to stand for students, because at the end of the day certain people were calling for breakdown in their school fees and it was not being accessible to them. I don't want to mention names because you realize that there's a general situation in private institutions and some professional institutions where SRC presidents are literally scared to speak up on issues, to talk about issues about school fees hitchhike, and at the end of the day, there's no breakdown, there's no accountability to anybody and all. There are schools, SRC presidents, who do not know the total number of students and are being denied their SRC dues. These are some of the key issues. The last thing, which I think I'll get more time to talk on, is the issue of student loan. The issue of student loan, particularly in private institutions. Access has been a problem. We all know that about 10% of the funds from Get Fund should go to student loan and means other things that should increase it. Now, beyond the discussion of student loan not coming, I think that there's a basic problem of even addressing how much money is coming from Get Fund into student loan and all. I mean, as at 2000, when Get Fund came back, the oil of Ghana, was not factored in and all. This is time for us to factor in other avenues of raising more funds into Get Fund and to student loan. If at the end of the day, financing is one of the issues. Talking about things like the communication, the communication tax of 1%, and then other things that are added to raise the fund. I feel that is one approach we need to look at. But the issue about student loan, the issue about students in private institutions differing because at the end of the day, the student loan they've applied for has not hit are some of the issues we need to talk about. The issues about how school fees can just change from 3,000 to 5,000 with no explanation are things we need to talk about. The issue about how at the end of the day, SRC dues are being denied various SRC presidents and SRC executives to work on the various campuses in private universities is some of the issues we can talk about. And Obi,
but among members of Nugs, so how do you talk about their issues?
Obi, the issue about I'll come to the technical universities bit. I'm trying to address the PUSAC bit.
Okay.
So you realize that most of the PUSAC institutions could apply to be private members or could be members under the University Students of Ghana Association.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to the issue of financing PUSAC, I think the way forward the way forward is to engage USAC and PUSAC to have some form of a memorandum of understanding. We could have a situation whereby at the end of the day, USAC could give subventions to PUSAC, because in reality, every whether private university, whether professional university, they all come to be universities in Ghana. So there's been this style of saying that, oh, really, every institution under PUSAC is under USAC. And so no institution wants to go and pay dues or capitation to 3 mother bodies. And that has been a challenge. So I think that as Nugs Secretariat, we can have a broader conversation with USAC and PUSAC so that at the end of the day, we do not suffocate PUSAC, because I think that PUSAC has a critical role to play in the next administration in terms of addressing issues of school fees, in terms of addressing issues of funds of various SRCs to be able to carry out projects. Now, Obi, just to chip this in on this student loan issue, and I tell people that say you will be a student loan Act 820, page 13. It says that a borrower shall apply for the student loan for the fund to defray personal expenses, cost of board and books, and academic user fee. What I am proposing, not just for private institutions, but I think that will benefit them a lot because they don't have a lot of people to talk for them on that issue, is the fact that we should create a column. We should be able to know that, oh, medical academic user fee, so that now for those people the monies can hit the schools directly and then the students are notified. Just like NHIS, I'm a doctor, we know that there's a lot of pre-financing there, so that no student will have to defer his course because at the end of the day, Student Loan Trust Fund refused to release their money
on time
when they have actually registered. Now, you see, the trick here is that student loan, obi bet me a loan on fan school fees, obi J loan, EDD, obi J loan, EDIABB, that is related. So what we are saying is that for people who are going to use the student loan to defray the cost of academics, there must be that provision, a memorandum of understanding between student loan, between Ministry of Education and the school, such that the money should be paid to them directly. And even if there's a delay in payment, no one son has to defer, because at the end of the day, there's an issue with student loan. On the issue of the GNUT,
finally,
I feel on the issue of the GNUT, I think that I'll commend Isaac Jihad. During the COVID time, when they had the invitation to the president, he was able to extend a hand of invitation to the JUNID blockhead, which is a step of good faith. What I think is that irrespective of whether JUNID is under Nugs or not, the Nugs president of Ghana owes the responsibility to advocate for them in terms of challenges and all. So that, irrespective of whether they come under the block or not, is something that is established. But talking about how to draw them in, I feel that we Nugs as a mother body, as the secretariat, we should really draw closer to them in terms of reaching out to their institutions, in terms of reaching out to them when they have their congresses, in terms of showing good faith, in terms of the challenges they have when they are running national programs. Basically, all the unions run things like national health programs. What interest do we have in their issues? What interest do we have in things like the rising accommodation deficit on various campuses in the technical universities? I believe that when Nugs, we begin to start putting in words for them in all these things, then we can start the discussion about how to gradually draft them in. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Doc, and Ekosiisen, this is the big Nugs presidential debate. Lot and lot of your messages coming through. Now, the three aspirants vying for the presidency, and anyone it was studio had Dr. Sylvester Owusu Amwakon, former SRC president, University of Ghana, Legon, Dennis Apia Labi Ampofo, former SRC president, University of Cape Coast, in Cape Coast, and Ayadom Boachi Emmanuel, former Nugs coordinating secretary for the year 2016-2017. In Penifom saying April, say student delegate across the country and Twaba Emma Wong Emeye, the next Nugs president to take over from J. Hyde. Obi. Me too, I was Nugs General Secretary in 2015 and led the student front to resist some draconian policies, particularly the then proposed payment of utility bills by students under the John Mahama presidency. Idi Muhayuddin, Idi, thank you. Mr. Dennis Labi is a solid guy who is ready to help promote the welfare of students, both the private and public sector. He started from UCC and he won't stop till every individual has got a share. Dog Bite, Monkey Kingdom, Ugwa Hall. Wow, the Dennis guy is just too much. He knows the real issues confronting Ghanaian students. We also have any chief of staff and on the way about Obi. The challenge of the union is finding all administrations wait till Congress to charge dues and capitation to defray their debt. What? Okay, there's a more challenge funding. In all administrations wait till Congress to charge dues and capitation to defray their debt. What is the vision of the candidate to resolve this problem? In the issue of funding for the association, Munoti, it is one thing we would come and deal with. We say, Obi. Dennis is a solid young man, speaking sense and hitting the interests of student, not history. Priorities of the student in Ghana are not about representation on blocks. I like the fact that he is hitting the real issues. Big ups, student loans, dying issues, unemployment, etc. We see a friend Gabi Ochredakun or Winneba and all the way about. Good evening. Let me see the other ones here. Now, Afeyenshe and Twaso. Ekosiisen Sune, Haya Sempa 94.7 FM. Obi, the CV of Boachi Adam talks about he once working with Nugs as coordinating secretary. Kindly find out from him on why Nugs got divided in 2016. Obi Diodiaba and James Kwabena Bomfair, a former aspirant like all of you, on Unsu Jana at the time, representing the University of Cape Coast. Or say, how do they propose to deal with the political leadership of the country? One point, and also how do they propose to deal with the political leadership of the country as members of political parties? None of them there is without an affiliation or linkage to either the NDC or the NPP. And that's one question. That Manuti Wahasime Busamo Dada and James Kwabena Bonfe and so Eddie Abba. What I'll do now is to pause for a short break. When I come back, we'll deal with what I think Doc spoke extensively about the student loan. I was saying Munya opportunity to speak about that. Yeah, don't worry. I'll give you the opportunity again. Because student loan, yeah, dear about quite the student in Yinakoma. So, papa. How would you want to deal with that? And here, number one. Number two, in times past, you Nugs dia. Now, send the shivers down the spine of even politicians, even government in power, even parties in opposition near there. And as a Nugs, Elusu Bibi, how do you plan to bring that back? That aura around Nugs. Those are the two questions I'm going to address, Yamami.